Hello and welcome to WarHQ. My name is Lucious, and today what we'll be looking at is a competitive Ork Kill Team Roster. Now, there's been a few changes and people are going to be like, with Orks, what the hell's going on with them? And I agree with you. Since the annual release, the main weapons that the normal Ork boys and some of the other Orks use, being the chopper, but also some of the other weapons like the power claw, got a price increase. Now, normally this wouldn't matter so much, but this price increase does sort of hurt when you are trying to be a horde list. Now, any of you that know the Orks, and I've done a video on them previously, know that they are at their best in big numbers because they do die easily. So what this points problem has caused is basically your team is slightly smaller now. That's pretty much the main difference. With what I'll say with that, you're down a boy or two basically on your horde list, or instead of taking those choppers, you decide to take something else. Like big shooters and stuff like that, to sort of make up for that. But Orks being Orks, they are choppy and they are still best at close combat in my opinion. So we will be breaking down the individual units used within this roster, and we'll also be providing you with 5 variant lists that you could run at one of these tournaments and how you might use these lists and why you'd use them. This isn't the extent of what you could do with this roster, but it's just an example. So if you have any other better ideas, let us know down below. But for now, let's get started. Now, positions 1 to 3 in this roster are taken up by Goblins. And you can see over here that 1 is the boss. I mean, it says it on his stolen Tau helmet itself, the Gob boss, so I'm figuring that's our leader. The other 2 guys I'm taking are going to be Goblin ammo runts, or Gretchen ammo runts. And so basically these guys can help give a reroll to a heavy weapon, and that's pretty much what I use them for. And anyone knows anything about Ork shooting, it's completely crap, usually using 6s, so getting that reroll is pretty important. And, as an added bonus, these ammo runts can also be used as a grot shield to save one of your better models. So all around, win-win taking those. Positions 4 to 6 within this kill team are taken up by 3 Commandos. Now we have 2 Commandos that are just regular ones with choppers and sluggers, and we also have the boss knob himself, who has a power claw. Now the boss knob is a combat specialist for that extra attack, and one of the regular Commandos is a scout. Now you say, why a scout? Well, it's pretty simple. Out of my list variants that I made, on one of them I was down a specialist and I needed something, and that's the only one I had left. So that's pretty much the only reason. You can reroll advance rolls, which is handy, but the main reason for taking Commandos in your kill team in this configuration with 3 of them is that you can hot drop for 1 CP 3 of these suckers behind enemy lines or within 5 of the closest enemy. So very powerful in your first turn to put this in a position where they're behind cover, because the Commandos themselves also receive another -1 to be hit when they obscured. So if someone's shooting at you in that first turn and you're behind cover, then it's a -2 to hit you. So that makes them just all that much harder to kill. Positions 7 to 9 within the roster are taken up by our heavy weapons. Now we have 3 heavy weapons here. The one in the middle is a spanner. So the spanner has a custom mega blaster. And we have a looter at the back there, and we also have a burner boy. So the burner boy is a demolition specialist, and we'll explain all of these roles when we get to them and what they're good at. Position 10 within this roster is the biggest, baddest, ugliest Ork of them all, the Mega Knob. Or if you're going to be really good, you've got to say it with a bit of gusto, like Mega Knob. So the Mega Knob himself Pretty cool. He's got a power claw. He is a veteran specialist. Why I've made him a veteran specialist? One very simple reason: he is slow. So giving him that advanced move on turn one is before turn one, sorry, is really going to help our day, getting this guy up to where he needs to be. It's a psychological factor for your enemy. Seeing one of these, it's basically an Ork Terminator, a little bit better, some might say, and he can get the work done. I mean, if you've got a particular objective in mind, like domination, where you're holding the center of the board, you've got to hold particular objectives. This guy is pretty good at it. And he will crush face in combat. So yeah, there's position 10, the Mega Knob. Now, what Ork Kill Team would be complete without a bunch of boys? And this bunch of boys is particularly ferocious. You can see here at the front that the boy boss knob, modelled here, he's got his little squig. He has a big chopper, and he is a veteran specialist. So he goes hand in hand. He can be swapped out for the Mega Knob as required, but he is used in most of the lists where the Mega Knob really isn't. Behind him are 7 boys, and these are our little nerf squad. So these are the guys that went up 1 point each with their choppers and sluggers. So now these are worth 7 as opposed to 6, which in my opinion is crap. I don't think they were that powerful that they justified it, but there you go. Go Games Workshop. And to round it out, we have 2 boys at the back here that are gunners, and they both have big shooters. Now, it's important to note here that this roster is using the Death Skulls clan culture. Now, why I've gone for Death Skulls is I think it's very powerful. Between this one and Evil Sons, they're both really on par in my point of view. Now, with the Death Skulls, you get all orcs here get a 6 invulnerability save, which is pretty handy. I mean, having only 6 armor, besides the Terminator, most of them only have 6 armor. So this means that with that invuln, you've always got that 6. So you've always got that 1 in 6 chance of surviving. Very important. But what is more important about the Death Skulls is the amount of rerolls they get. Now, they get to reroll 1 hit miss and 1 wound fail every phase of every turn. So if you work this out, this means that they get it in the movement phase when they do Overwatch fire, if someone charges them. They also get it in the shooting phase, and they get it in the combat phase. So there is a potential of 6 rerolls every turn. Now, normally a team would have to spend an entire CP to just get 1 reroll. So this makes it really powerful. And one of the ideas here is you can re-roll these heavy weapons. So like you need to kill those elites, you're fighting Marines or Grey Knights or something like that. You can re-roll these heavy weapons. We also have the ammo runts here, which can enable further re-rolls on the heavy weapons just to make them a little bit better. And particularly this little sucker over here with the spanner, like a lot of people don't use this with the custom Mega Blaster. That's because you die if you roll a 1, basically. So it's kind of like, okay, with Death Skulls, I can re-roll that 1 if I happen to get 1, but also with the ammo run with him I can re-roll another, so I've got a potential there of re-rolling 2 1s if he was to roll that, unfortunately, in his shooting ability. So this gun is super powerful. You'll nuke anything with this if you roll a 6. So that's all it's there for. It's for that random factor and just hoping to get that nuke. So yeah, Death Skulls, that's what we're running for this roster. This brings us to our list variant number 1. Now, list variant 1 is fairly specific, and it's very simple. Like, this is our close combat variation of a list. So you're going to use this against anything that has low saving throws, or anything that requires volume of attacks to take down. So some things I have in mind here: Imperial Guard, Harlequins, right? Tyranids, like Gaunt Spams. This is not a bad list for that. Now, what we have fairly simply is the Goblin leader. We have the 3 Commandos, including the boss commando with a power claw. We have 7 boys that have choppers and sluggers, and we also have the boy boss who has a big chopper. So very simple, like everyone here is designed for close combat. Basically, you've got a leader you can hide out of line of sight. The main idea with this one is to get everything up as quick as you can, and you can do this having a veteran as the boss knob The boy boss Snob is a veteran, so he can do that advanced move on before turn 1. And you also have the 3 commandos here that you can drop in behind enemy lines, and the others can all do rapid advances and get up there as quick as they can. Now, it's a pretty simple team, and that's fairly much the concept of this list build. List variant 2. I'm going to call this one our elite killer list. So basically what we're doing here is we're taking any models that can really do a lot of damage or have the potential for really high AP. Now, how I've achieved this is we have 4, we'll start with the basic stuff. So we've got 4 normal boys. They're just in there for fluff, get things, tie things up in combat, hold objectives. We have the 2 bosses again, so we've got both boss Snobs. We've got the commando with the claw, and we have the normal boy with the big chopper. This is complemented by the Goblin leader, and we have 2 ammo runts as well. Now these ammo runts work in conjunction with our heavy weapon section over here. So we have the looter up the back there, we have the spanner with his custom mega blaster, and we also have the burner boy there. Now the burner boy is a demolition specialist, as we've said before. We've also got the commando boss as a combat specialist, the boy boss is a veteran specialist, and the goblin leader. But the idea with this team is you have enough figures. It's still got 12 in the force, which makes them quite strong. Now, the ammo runts can help boost up the shooting of the heavies. Now, this is a sort of force where you know, of course you're always relying on 6s with rolls to hit, but if you hit with any of these guns, particularly the looter and the spanner, they will decimate elite units pretty easy. Now, anyone who knows about the burner boy being a demolition specialist, he is very good at close combat. He gets a -2 AP on his hits, so that makes him really good. You want to get him into close combat against anything majorly elite. So this here is really designed. It's still got, look, it's got a great break figure still. You can lose a lot of these guys. You know, you can lose up to 7 before you need a break test. These guys, in my opinion, work pretty well against breaking elite teams. List 3 is a special variant. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at objective holding or center holders. Say you've got domination, say you've got to take that center of the board and hold it. That's why we've got this mega knob. The mega knob is there, and it could also throw people off too if they're going to take a lot of high volume weapons with very low AP, which is what you normally take against orcs. Having that mega knob there is a real curveball and could really throw a spanner in the works of your enemy. Having a 2-up save is super mighty. And if they haven't brought AP weapons and you've got that mega knob there, he's going to be very hard to take off the board. Now, he's got the 2 ammo runts and the goblin leader, obviously. Now, these could be used to boost the shooters. There's 2 big shooters there. It could be used to boost those, or it could be just use these goblins to hold objectives, which is probably what I would do with them. The 2 big shooters, as I said, you've got a normal boy, you've got the burner demolition specialist, and you also have the combat specialist who is a commando boss knob. Now, this is a pretty... It's not a list you'd take against every opponent. You know, you are lacking the models of the other builds in this team. There are only 9 models, which only gives you a 5 breakpoint, so you've got to keep that in mind as well. You don't want to go around getting broken, and you could get broken very quickly with this force. But it does pack a lot of punch too. You've got the volume of fire with the big shooters, and also the burner itself. But you also have some close combat, some pretty gnarly close combat potential with the commando boss knob, the burner, and the mega knob can all get the work done. So this is a bit of a niche list, but hey, it's fun. Now, list variation 4 is kind of a spin-off on the first one, but it gives us some different options. This one is really for volume of fire. So when, you know, the crap goes down, you've got to kill hordes, and you've got to kill them hard with lots of bullets. This is the list for you. Now, what we've got here to do that is you've got an auto-hitting burner boy there, who's a demolition specialist with his flamer. You have 2 big shooters, lots of bullets, lots of big shots with those guys. You have the normal goblin leader that we have, and we have the 2 bosses as our close combat backups, which are the boy boss knob with the big chopper and the commando boss knob with the claw. And then to complement those dudes, we have 6 regular boys with choppers and sluggers. Now this list variant is going to do very well against those bigger teams. You've got lots of shooting that you can back up your very powerful close combat. And you have a couple of models there that can take down big guys. So your 2 boss knobs are going to be doing any work. So say you're fighting Tyranids, this would be another good list. They can do the work on the Tyranids. Or you're fighting Death Guard. These guys could be fighting the Plague Marines, while the others are chopping and shooting the crap out of anything that's chaff and horde related. So that is list variant 4. Alright, so this is list variant number 5. Now having a look around this one, it's a bit of a mixed bag, and that's what it's used for. It's used for diverse teams. It's used for a bit of everything, just so you've got a bit of punch in every direction. Now if you have a look here, we have some heavy weapons. We've got the Spanner over here with his custom Mega Blaster. We've got the Looter, and we also have a big shooter. These are aided by the 2 ammo runts, and we also have the Goblin Leader as per usual. We have the 2 boss knobs, being the boy boss knob and the commando boss knob. We have them in there as well because that gives us a lot of punch in close combat. And to round it out, we have 2 commandos and we have 2 regular boys. So the idea here is you've got this ability to drop those commandos in. You've got some hard-hitting close combat units with your bosses, and you have a bit of ranged fire support as well, which is really handy. Fairly basic mix here. This could work well against most teams. This one still has a 12 model count, so it has a 7 break, so it's as strong as any of the others, and it's a bit of a mixed bag. So have a consider about this one. It's not the worst list in the world. So there you have the Ork Command roster for a competitive kill team tournament. I hope you enjoyed that. This is one that I wanted to take to the last tournament that I played, but they just nerfed the Orks, and I just couldn't get it how I wanted it to be as competitive as it could be. And I think it has hurt the Ork list a little bit with those nerfs that they did do. I won't wank on about it too much more. It just is what it is. It could be a typo. We're all living in hope, but who knows? We'll have to wait till the next annual, I guess. But this is the Orks. They are, look, they're a hit and miss kill team. Are they top tier? Probably not, but they're somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle or high middle, you know, right at the top of that middle bunch. And I really think when used correctly, they can be very effective. Now, your main models in this kill team have always been the boss knobs. They are very powerful. You can take down just about anything with these 2 boss knobs. So anything major or big that you've got to come across, you want to kill them with those as quickly as possible. And you can do so with those advanced moves with the veterans, and you can do it with dropping them in as commandos as well, as per needed. Plenty of heavy weapon options in this roster. They are always hit and miss, those things. They either work or they don't. It's just part of Ork life. You either win big or you lose hard. You know, a couple of lists you've got to really worry about with Orks is Necrons. I find Necrons are very hard to kill with Orks, particularly the flayed ones when they're using their flayed one sort of sub-faction, which gives them bonuses that makes basically the reroll hits, reroll wounds. I did a battle report with that and got waxed. There's just nothing the Orks could do against them. It just didn't work. But beyond that, I mean, you know, normal Necron team you'd be a little bit better advised against. But hey, try and win on points. You know, if you come across a list which you're a bit worried about, win on points or throw a curveball in there like the Mega Knob. I mean, what the hell a flayed one's going to do against a Mega Knob? You know what I mean? You're just going to slowly rip them apart. Hopefully you don't roll 6s on your damage, obviously. So have a think about this list and this roster. I hope you've enjoyed it. I have a more detailed list, like breakdown on Orks themselves, like with a faction breakdown, and I'll put a link to that below. But for now, I hope you enjoy. This is just a bit of a casual one from us at WarHQ here. My name's Lucious, and I am signing out.
Well, your funeral car takes you for an ass ride, so chop down the roof and I'm laying this side. Spend all the money all the time.